You start as an E1. Seaman recruit. You're not even in BUD/S yet. You're in boot camp with everyone else who joined the Navy. 8 weeks at Great Lakes, Illinois. You're 18 years old. You run. You do push-ups. You learn to fold clothes in ways that make no practical sense. You memorize ranks you don't understand yet. You're nobody. That's the point. Boot camp exists to erase whoever you were and replace it with the basic shape of a sailor. You graduate. You're an E2 now. Seaman apprentice. Still nobody. But you have orders to Naval Special Warfare Prep School. That's where it starts. Prep school is 8 weeks in Great Lakes. You're with other SEAL candidates. You run. You swim. You do calisthenics until your body stops recognizing the difference between movement and pain. The instructors are SEALs. They don't care if you make it. They're eliminating the people who won't survive BUD/S before the Navy wastes money sending them to Coronado. 40% of your class quits. You don't. You're still an E2. You arrive at BUD/S. BUD/S is 6 months. Basic underwater demolition/SEAL training. Coronado, California. You're an E3 now. Seaman. Still the lowest enlisted rank that matters. First phase is 8 weeks. Conditioning. You run in boots on the beach. You do log PT with telephone poles that weigh 200 pounds. You do surf torture where you sit in the Pacific Ocean in February until hypothermia is a medical certainty, not a risk. You do Hell Week. 5.5 days. 4 hours of sleep total. Continuous physical evolution. Boats on your heads. Instructors yelling. Cold. Wet. Sand everywhere. Your skin cracks. You hallucinate. 60% of the remaining class quits. You don't. You ring the bell or you don't. You don't. Second phase is diving. 8 weeks. You learn combat swimming. You learn how to use a Draeger rebreather that doesn't leave bubbles. You do pool comp. Pool competence. An instructor attacks you underwater. Ties your regulator in knots. Rips your mask off. You have to untangle it and surface without panicking. If you panic, you fail. You don't panic. You're still an E3. Third phase is land warfare. 10 weeks. Shooting. Explosives. Small unit tactics. You learn to shoot a rifle accurately while exhausted. You learn to place demolitions. You blow things up in the desert. You graduate BUD/S. You're not a SEAL yet. You go to SEAL qualification training. SQT. 26 weeks. This is where they teach you to be a SEAL, not just survive training. You learn advanced weapons. You learn combat medicine. You learn how to call in airstrikes. You learn freefall parachuting. You learn close quarters battle. You do live-fire exercises where the bullets are real and the mistakes are fatal. You graduate. You're awarded your Trident. The SEAL insignia. Eagle. Anchor. Pistol. Trident. You're an E4 now. Petty Officer 3rd Class. You've been in the Navy for 2 years. You're finally a SEAL. You're assigned to a team. You arrive at your team as an E4. You're the new guy. The F&G. You don't go on deployments yet. You're in a probationary period. You're assigned to a platoon. 16 guys. You do workups. Training cycles before deployment. You're the one carrying the heaviest gear. You're the one doing the jobs no one else wants. You prep equipment. You clean weapons. You stand duty. You don't complain because complaining identifies you as someone who won't last. You prove yourself. You become an E5. Petty Officer 2nd Class. You've been in 3 years. You deploy. Your first deployment is Iraq or Afghanistan. Depending on the year, you're doing direct action missions. Raids, capture or kill. You're breaching doors at 2 a.m. You're searching compounds. You're collecting intelligence. You're in firefights where the shots are coming from everywhere and nowhere. You're scared. You're also too busy to think about being scared. You do your job. You go on 50 missions. 49 of them are boring. Long helicopter rides. Empty compounds. Bad intel. One of them is the reason you joined. The one where everything you trained for happens at once and you perform exactly the way you were trained to. You come home. You're still an E5. But you're not an F&G anymore. You do 2 more deployments as an E5. You're good at your job. You're reliable. You're becoming the guy the newer guys watch to figure out how to do things. You're mentoring without realizing it. You make E6, Petty Officer First Class. You've been in 6 years. You're a team leader now. You have 3 other guys under you. You're responsible for them, their equipment, their performance, their lives. That weight is different than being responsible for yourself. You deploy again. This time when something goes wrong, you're the one making the decision. You're the one who has to live with it. You make E7, Chief Petty Officer. You've been in 10 years. This is the most important rank transition in the enlisted structure. You're not just a SEAL anymore. You're a chief. You wear a different uniform. You have different responsibilities. You're the bridge between the junior enlisted guys doing the work and the officers making the decisions. You're responsible for the entire platoon's readiness. You're doing training plans. You're managing budgets. You're counseling guys who are having problems. You're still going on missions. But you're also making sure the guys going on missions are ready. You deploy as a platoon chief. You're in your early 30s. You've done 6 deployments. You've seen things that will never leave you. You've lost friends. You've made decisions that saved lives and decisions that didn't. You're very good at your job. You're also very tired. You make E8, Senior Chief Petty Officer. You've been in 15 years. You're at the team level now. You're not in a platoon anymore. You're managing training. You're integrating new guys. You're working with officers on operational planning. You're doing less direct action and more oversight. You're in meetings. You deploy less frequently. When you do deploy, you're in a command role. You're not kicking in doors anymore. You're on the radio coordinating multiple elements. You're making sure 20-year-old SEALs are doing the job you used to do. You're watching them make the mistakes you made. You can't do it for them. You can only prepare them and hope they survive their own learning curve. You make E9, Master Chief Petty Officer. You've been in 20 years. You're one of the most senior enlisted SEALs in the community. There aren't many E9s. You're at Naval Special Warfare Command now. You're shaping policy. You're representing the enlisted force to officers at levels you never thought you'd interact with. You're dealing with budgets in the millions. You're testifying to Congress. You're writing doctrine. You're not doing the job you joined to do. You're managing the system that produces the people who do the job. You're in your late 30s. You're thinking about retirement. You've given 20 years. Your body is broken in ways that don't heal. Your knees are shot. Your back hurts every morning. You have hearing loss. You have a traumatic brain injury from blast exposure that you didn't report because reporting means you might get pulled from the teams. You have nightmares. Not every night, but enough. At some point during this progression, you might switch to the officer side. You apply for officer candidate school. You have a degree now. You earned it online between deployments. You're commissioned as an O1. Ensign. You're back at the bottom. Except you're not. You're an O1 with 10 years of experience as an enlisted SEAL. You're a Mustang. Prior enlisted. You're respected in a way butterbar officers fresh out of Annapolis aren't. You go through junior officer training course. You learn how to be an officer, which is different than being a SEAL. You return to a team as a platoon commander. You're an O2 now. Lieutenant junior grade. You have 16 guys. Half of them have been in longer than you've been an officer. They know more than you do. Your job is to lead them anyway. You do it by listening, by trusting your chief, by making decisions when decisions need to be made and deferring when they don't. You deploy as a platoon commander. You're responsible for everything. The mission, the planning, the execution, the aftermath. When something goes right, your guys did it. When something goes wrong, you did it. That's the deal. You make O3, Lieutenant. You've been an officer for 4 years. You're a troop commander now. Multiple platoons. 60 guys. You're doing less tactical work and more operational planning. You're interfacing with conventional units. You're justifying SEAL operations to people who don't understand why you do things the way you do. You're learning that leadership is less about knowing what to do and more about empowering the people who know what to do. You make 04. Lieutenant Commander. You're 15 years in now. Total. Enlisted and officer time. You're an executive officer at a team. You're second in command. You're managing the entire command's operations. Training. Administration. Personnel. Budget. You're signing paperwork that determines whether guys deploy or don't. Whether guys get promoted or don't. Whether guys stay in the teams or don't. You're making decisions that affect lives without being in the room when those lives are lived. It's harder than combat. Combat is immediate. Leadership is watching second and third order effects of decisions you made months ago and wondering if you chose right. You make 05. Commander. You're a team commander now. You're in charge. One of the SEAL teams. Naval Special Warfare is built around 8 SEAL teams. You command one. You have 250 men under you. You're responsible for everything they do. Every mission. Every training accident. Every DUI. Every success. Every failure. You're in meetings with admirals. You're justifying budgets. You're fighting for resources. You're briefing generals on operations. You're doing less SEAL work and more command work. You deploy rarely. When you do, it's to command-level positions. You're not with the guys anymore. You're managing the guys who manage the guys. The distance bothers you. It has to be this way. But it bothers you. You make 06. Captain. You're 25 years in. You're at Naval Special Warfare Command. You're managing the entire enterprise. 8 SEAL teams. Multiple support commands. Thousands of people. You're doing strategic planning. You're interfacing with the Pentagon. You're testifying to Congress about special operations funding. You're writing the future of naval special warfare. You're so far from kicking in doors at 2 a.m. that it feels like a different life. Because it was. You're 50 years old. You've been in the Navy longer than you've been out. You're thinking about retirement. What does a 50-year-old former SEAL do? You've been trained to do one thing at the highest possible level. And that thing is no longer what you do. You retire. Maybe at 20. Maybe at 25. Maybe at 30. You get a pension. You get health care. You get benefits. You also get a life where no one is asking you to breach a compound in the dark and eliminate threats with lethal efficiency. You get a life where the stakes are lower. The problems are smaller. The meaning is harder to find. You go into contracting, or consulting, or you start a business, or you struggle to find something that makes you feel the way the teams made you feel. Most guys struggle, not because civilian life is hard, because nothing else feels like it matters the same way. The rank structure isn't just a ladder. It's a transformation. You start as an E1 believing you're going to be a door-kicking operator forever. You end as an 06 managing PowerPoint presentations and budget meetings. Every rank teaches you something. E1 through E4 teaches you to suffer. E5 through E7 teaches you to perform. E8 through E9 teaches you to lead. O1 through O3 teaches you to command. O4 through O6 teaches you to manage. And all of it, every single rank, teaches you that being a SEAL isn't about the Trident. It's about the guy next to you. The one you die for. The one who died for you. The one you're responsible for keeping alive. That's the job. Not the missions. Not the rank. The responsibility to the men. Everything else is just structure around that single truth.